Myanmar, one of these two. But boys and girls, it is time for game number 5. Alex, Kowo, take it away, and don't forget, start us off with your predictions.
Thank you so much, Sandstorm. What an introduction, and he's all about these predictions, honestly. We're more than just predictions, aren't we?
But
you know,
we were just the best of them. That's why they keep asking us.
Fair enough, fair enough.
What can you say?
Very true. Also very true. We're not going to talk about our predictions again.
Months
before the
tournament started, right?
Yeah.
Ukraine, Turkey.
I'm just saying, you know, we kind of seem to know what we're talking about, don't we? Either way, heading into the last game, it's 30 points difference. To keep you guys at home up to speed, it's 30 points that Ukraine has to catch up on. And, man, I hate to say it, but at this point, it's doable, but it's unlikely.
Yeah.
That's just how the situation is.
Like the desk said, you take them out early, you play a big game yourself. If you don't win the game, right, if you're getting second place, that's still 10 elims you have to get, right, to close that gap per game. So mega games have to come out from Ukraine here. We've seen them do it before. We'll see if they can do it again. We're waiting with bated breath. But don't forget as well, when we watch that overall leaderboard, Myanmar was always clearly the third team. They are now absolutely in striking distance of Saudi Arabia and Brazil, who can both still fight for third here. So there's a lot going on in this game that is not just Ukraine and Turkey. And like I said before, third place is double the prize pool of a fourth place, right? You double in your money from 7 to 14K. That's pretty big. That's a nice chunk of cash to be taken home for a lot of these players, for a lot of these teams. So don't forget about Brazil, don't forget about Saudi Arabia or Myanmar in this game either. Lots to unpack, lots of chances for these squads. And we are starting off the final matches of the day. Miramar, show us what you got.
It's going to be the deciding game. If Ukraine strikes back, if they have a big game, it's going to be possible in the next one. If they haven't, Turkey might just, or rather, if they increase the distance, put it that way, if they increase the distance with this game, it's not going to be possible mathematically. So for everyone's suspense, for everyone's sake, we want to see Ukraine now with a big, big game. Obviously, you do, especially with your prediction.
It's not about me, it's about them.
It is.
They want to win this tournament.
$40,000 US. I think it's 28,000 on second place, so you kind of miss out on 12,000 US dollars. This is not to be underestimated how much money that is. And that's what they're playing for in these last two matches. We are heading into Miramar, and that also means it's the usual stuff. It's the usual hot jobs. Of course, it's Jordan. Who else would it be? I don't think we've not seen a hot job or a contest, rather, in any of these games today. Maybe except Sanhok, but even Sanhok is relatively contested now that they've stretched so far towards the northern side. We talked about this. Hasn't been the case in the very first Sanhok game on day one. Now it's kind of come to a point that other teams realize this, and even on Sanhok, I think they lost a play in the very first phase. So not even Sanhok is safe at this point anymore. Jordan just loves fighting first phase. It's a surprise to me that these guys are not at the bottom of the scoreboards, not all the way down there at least.
They do have the skill. They have the individuals to pull that back. Ragnarok in that last game.
Yeah.
Absolute massive performance from him, especially when you look at how much damage he dealt. He didn't actually come away with a ton of frags there, but still a huge, huge resurgence from him, making that game so hard for everyone else. Now, they're going to look to single out a player. They're training up the stairs here together. Not a single bit of space in between them, but they got to keep this clean. The util is ready from Bulgaria. They are looking to punish this as soon as they can here from the outside. Notorious already cooking that one up. He's been spotted by Lath. They're going to trade nades. Who throws it better? It's looking good for Lath. But it bounces a little too far. And I don't think they've dealt with the player in their building just yet. But there's a knock onto Notorious. So that's one of the outside guys on his feet.
He was caught out of position there. He was spotted out really, really early. And unfortunately for him, that means getting naded out. I'm surprised Jordan even had nades. That must have been almost the only two nades they had. Oh, that's a frag, and that's first blood against Ukraine, ladies and gentlemen. This is the fight that might just decide the tournament. Ukraine has lost a player to none other than Sulkai. And he's picked himself up the first elimination in this game against direct competition on the overall leaderboard. Lath will do the same. just on a smaller scale in terms of what that frag really means. Miracle is going to get that flash, and Solkai takes down Old Boy as well, flushes him through. And I'd love to see if that was what Turkey was thinking of doing anyways. Making sure they weaken them as much as possible with a 30 points difference. That is perfect. That's a good decision right there. Every player you take out means less and less chance for them to have a double-digit game. And this is exactly what they're doing. 2 players now have been traded. Havlik has brought things back. Scarface is down, slowing low HP, but he might be brought back up to 75 any second now. And it becomes likely. It becomes likely, but this is 30 points difference. Ukraine needs to stay alive at least as 2.
If they don't win this, if they don't win this, it's over.
Yes,
if they don't win this fight,
even if they do, that's the point. They've already been weakened. This is perfect play by Turkey. They're realizing that if they just fight against Ukraine early on in both of these games and take out at least one player, it's going to be possible. Lonic somehow makes it across. How is that even possible?
That is a crazy move. He might just not have meds. That's why they're so desperate for this. They want to strike while the Iron's still hot. They want to strike while there's knocked players on the ground, but that's easy for Ketch. No HP on Slavic at all. Havlik is making the push as well, but what can you do at this point? 1v2 for him. No HP to deal with. He's got the car, but any sort of bullet would instantly close him out here. It's not looking good for Ukraine. And it's Turkey who take matters into their own hands. They might have just decided the tournament here.
They might have just decided the tournament, ladies and gentlemen. That is crazy, and I'd love to see how that whole fight started. There might have been some mind games in place. I don't think this is a coincidence right now. I think this is perfectly played by Turkey and Ukraine at the same time. Both needed this fight. Both needed these isolated 4-on-4s. And if we replay this, maybe Ukraine is going to be able to take these guys out, and then they have a perfect game in front of them, because they needed Turkey to have a weak game as well. And it doesn't even stop there. Easy's being taken out as well. I don't necessarily understand this push from the Saudi now. They have entirely different enemies, but apparently they want to get into this one. But all they did is lose a player up until this point, and it's not going to get easier from here on out.
They see a weakened team, they try to third party, but it goes all sorts of wrong. Kante falls to his own vehicle, that's massive as well. Like you said, Easy instantly taken out. Ketch plays that to perfection. He realizes the angle he has, uses it, goes for the instant flush, and then slows things down. Once he's secured the point, not before that. He doesn't let them get the res. He confirms it instantly. Now they're building up more angles. Nawaf from the distance might make that a little tricky, but Turkey has already just claimed one more Elim, making this a more one-sided opportunity. The longer they play, the more time you give them, the more they will work you. And they've shown us to great effect what they can do. What a fight for them. Literally might have just won the tournament.
Unbelievable.
Right there and then.
We gotta watch the map string back. We gotta watch the map string back. Who decided on that 4-on-4? But I think, as I said, I can't blame either team. It would make absolute sense in the grand scheme of things for any team to engage the other one. It's just crazy that both of these teams landed so close to each other and decided on the fight as well. But that the first couple of frags were being picked up by Solkai is gotta give him some form of bonus for the MVP at the end of the tournament. Really, really big frags coming out from him. 5 elims, still strong. And if they get a couple of more points, even mathematically, that's what I was talking about, it's going to be almost impossible for Ukraine to catch up. You're extremely sure. I wouldn't necessarily say I've seen crazier things, but I've seen things just as crazy as Ukraine still coming back and having a chance in this tournament. I wouldn't write them off just yet. But it really depends how this this remaining round really goes for Turkey, because so many other teams, that's the problem as well for Ukraine now, so many other teams are fighting now. They need these points. They're desperate for it. They want to get into isolated fights early, not be at the mercy of the zone. And as soon as that happens, that means less players alive, that means less teams alive, placement points are easier to get, and third partying becomes easier as well.
Zone's about to pop. Oh my, what a shift. That's big for Brazil. Big news for them. They've been a team that struggles with these rotations. Now they don't have to. Now they are in one of the best spots in phase 2. They can do what they do best, which is fight their way into late games. Saudi Arabia, they were trying to grasp the opportunity at hand, and they were instantly punished by Ketch there on the angle, instantly knocked down to 3 players. instantly had to get away from that fight. As we see Myanmar as well. Those are 3 teams I will keep my eyes on, fighting for 3rd place in the World Esports Championship. And then there's just a ton of players in this lobby that are grasping every single placement they could get, every single point they can get. Push themselves a little bit further up that leaderboard, 2 more chances. There's a lot you can do in 2 games. Indonesia has shown that earlier. But imagine just being Ukraine right now. Having to sit on that stage.
Unbelievable.
And watch the entirety of this game out. It's so cruel.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything worse than this right now. They've given it all. And I'm not the one to write them off just yet. You apparently do. But as I said, it depends on how the rest of this game goes. And if they have to watch Turkey now get a couple of more points, get up to double digits, then at that point they realize themselves it is get the biggest round anyone's ever had here in the Iesf World Esports Championship history, or go home in 2nd place. But that's also the good part. They have nothing to lose. They're sure as hell not going to lose that 2nd place. That's the one good thing going into the next game that they have going for them. Nothing can really take it away. But they also need to take down Turkey again. So I think Turkey, and now the worst thing they could do next game is fight them again. Now they've already won the crucial fight, right? The first one. The second one they don't need anymore. They don't need. They can just hide. Drop somewhere else. Ukraine, on the other hand, they need to drop on Turkey in the next game. Otherwise, no chance. They need to clear them for all and get like 15, 20 more points depending on how this game goes. Ragnarok, let's focus on this game for now. Not get ahead of ourselves. Is being taken down by Suke. Interesting angle. I wouldn't have expected that angle either, to be honest. Mongolia way out of position usually, but it's an off angle that really works in his favor. And just like that, they will secure themselves that side of the city.
You can really tell some of these teams are getting antsy. They're looking for points, and Ragnarok there, he sees a few players to his north, instantly runs up below them, tries to go for an angle, tries to go for a cheeky pick. Caught out of position, his team's not there to help him. Players are looking for every chance they can get. And a team like Jordan is not shying away from early fights. They take every fight they can get their hands on. And sometimes a team is well set up to deter whatever you throw at them. Phase 3 is about to pop. We are centralizing on Brazil on the high ground. I've said power position a few too many times in this tournament, but that is what they're holding right now. The only question for them is, do they group up or do they hold this 2-2 split on both sides of the ridge? But they are in one of the best positions to be playing this game out from. They see so much. They control so much. If they can just weaken some of the teams around them, get themselves in a comfortable late game, they should be a good candidate here for a 3rd place.
They should. Myanmar, they've got it in their hands now. It's going to come down to the very last 2 games. Match number 5 that we're in right now is the second to last game. Be reminded, 18 games in total will be played before the Iesf World Esports Championship. Only for Pubg has ended. That's the thing as well. If you're interested in other esports titles, it is far from over. This 10-day event, which is crazy by the way, it's a 10-day event, keeps on giving. It's just different titles then. But your favorite country, your home country, that most likely is, might still compete in different titles. So be reminded, if you're a fan of your country, check around for the other titles, check out Iesf on the socials. They'll keep you up to speed on who's playing and which countries are participating.
Look at this though. Saudi Arabia has been caught out. They lost another member in transition. Now they're almost down to 1. And Egypt wants to close this. Egypt, once again, smelling blood in the water. They love getting these early frags. They love getting these early engagements. Not as crazy as maybe a Jordan likes to take them, but they like to take them controlled, calculated. And they will look for this. Kante, he's got to get his heels up. Nawaf as well on the lower ground. Both very isolated. The only real hope for them is that the high ground cover Pakistan has provides a bit of support, provides a deterrence for Egypt to cross all too quickly. But it's a matter of time, I think, until they make that play, make that aggression, and try to take that 4v2. You don't get a whole lot better fights than a 4v2 in a compound that you control.
Couple of shots traded back and forth. Saudi Arabia up there as well, which is why this fight matters so much. They're not allowed to be taken out just yet. A couple of more points would already be great to keep the comeback alive in the upcoming round. In the very last round. But yeah, looking at the overall leaderboard once more, it's not surprising so many teams have lost a player already. We said going into these last games, especially all these teams second part of the leaderboard that have only to win, nothing to lose when it comes to the prize money spots, that they will play more aggressive. Now Saudi's being pushed. Egypt, very close around the corner again, might just run himself in to get traded, but he doesn't even get taken down. Nawaf, headshot to his face with the S12K is going to be enough to put him on the floor. And he's going to attack again in the next round. This round is over, and it's just one teammate left standing here as Egypt looks to take the third frag of this round as well. It's Kante up there. You said 3 KD. Yeah. I don't think he's got enough frags so far. I'm pretty sure he hasn't.
Yeah.
So if he wants to keep that alive, Egypt has to be careful.
That would be a nice
Egypt
start.
has to be careful, not him.
Oh, but Egypt has to be careful because they're going back into their old compound, or at least they wanted to for a second here. But I think they realized last minute that that's been taken by the French squad. They wanted to fall back and realize just in time that that's not longer on the cards. Good thinking on their part. Ketched finds another one onto Kyrgyzstan. That's an opening knock that might keep Turkey alive. I think they've already lost. They took a knock to the blue zone, but they have gotten that res back up as well on their eastern side of things. As we are watching with bated breath what Egypt can do with this, what Turkey can do with this. Seric is cooking up an 8 already. He's heard that car land, and he's looking to do something with it. Trying to get away, but it is Soulless that gets caught. It is Turkey, a little disjointed, and they do lose members here. 5 elims, 4 of them towards the squad that matters the most. And now we just have Ketched sending it somewhere center, trying to survive, trying to scrap out a few more points in a lower ground dip maybe. A tractor in the field maybe. Not sure where he's going to end up. Shouldn't be playing a big game, but you never know with these guys, Felix.
Yeah, you just never, ever do. It's like one of the biggest things that this roster is going for them. They are unpredictable to some degree. And now Ketch is being caught on rotation once and for all. He's being taken out. It's 5 points. So that's 4 additional points now for Turkey on top of the 30 they've already gotten. So let's think about this realistically, what needs to happen in the next game and take that point away from the analysts once more because we've got the time. It's about 15 to 20. No, it's more than. They need more than 20 frags and a win, yes. Ukraine next round.
Yes.
Technically
24.
possible. We've seen crazier things from Indonesia come out of nowhere. But it's going to be really, really tough. They need Turkey out as the very first team.
It's a 24 at least. 24 kill win. We want to keep the dream alive. We want to believe. I'm not believing. I want to, but my brain is telling me no. As we move further on into the round. Egypt still hasn't cleared Kante. They're still being hesitant because of the angle Pakistan is holding from the top. They will have to at some point because they want to move up that hillside. So, yes, they can wait around. And yes, an opportunity might arise. But I would love to see them take this a little bit more into their own hands. As we see Myanmar on the other side. That's a lot of nades flying towards Kyrgyzstan. That's 2 big teams as well.
Absolutely. Well, more nade being thrown across. That's the 3rd one in total that hasn't hit its target. But it's more damage being dished out by Myanmar. And Kyrgyzstan slowly but surely has to think about how to approach this. I think there's only one way this goes, and that's the direct fight with Myanmar. This is going to decide a lot, ladies and gentlemen. Molotov comes in, barely touches his feet, but he needs to push because of it. He can't turn back, and that's effect. Grabbing himself on quick entry. Saruke to top things off, but it is one trade at the very least for Myanmar. That's Godspeed from up top. He's got the back of his teammates, just not fast enough, unfortunately. Lewis has been taken down before that, and Sai is still knocked down on the ground. Pakistan from up top hits a crazy nade as well. I don't think he saw them even. I think he just anticipated his position, and that is perfect, obviously, for Kyrgyzstan once more.
And they already wanted to fall away from that. They were already in the car, leaving the scene, but then they find that opening, and they're like, oh, maybe we do get a little interested in this. Maybe we do close out our edge here. And that might be the chance that Egypt's been waiting for this whole time, waiting below Pakistan, waiting for them to get busy. Chile on the other side, they're in an absolute mess of a fight versus Romania here. It's an absolute battle on the outskirts, but that is Marnet out, and that is Myanmar eliminated in 12. The door is wide open for anybody to catch this up. Simple is making a stand here for Chile, but how much longer can he hold on? They're flooding over the ridgeline. The DBS comes out. He gets himself another one more to deal with. Can he do it? No! It's Romania that closes it out in the end. An absolute bloodbath on the south side.
Man, that would have been a 1v4. That would have been a 1v4. One of the first ones we've seen at the grand final here at the Iesf World Esports Championship, live from Riyadh, but it wasn't meant to be. I definitely would have given it to him, if I'm being honest. That looked like he was going to do it as well, but the M4 finally superior to the DBS in that singled out firefight towards that southeastern side of things. Indonesia, still strong, looking to grab themselves one more big round. 2 dinners is what they've achieved today. Quite in contrast to the last 2 days. We've talked about this extensively. It's been a turnaround, the biggest turnaround of the tournament. The biggest turnaround by far. We've had huge amount of Indonesian fans in the chat for these 2 dinners. Everyone has been cheering on them, has been proud of that performance. Hashtag IndoPride has been one of the most used hashtags in the chat. I've seen that plenty of times. And it's definitely going to add fuel to the fire that is Indonesia today.
You love to see it. You love to see a comeback on the last day. You love to see some fire in these players. Kyrgyzstan is now taking control. Kante finally cleared out Egypt. They took their time with it. They really waited for quite a while, but they finally decided to take matters into their own hands. Now, having to move up the hill, definitely next circle. Very, very likely, with multiple teams above them. But there's Pakistan opening things up onto Zeric. And that is instantly traded on out. So it's a 3v3 on the hillside and an Egyptian squad that really just wants to third party this. The first opportunity they get. I think they're already making up the moves. Again, it's already running up. This is a beautiful opening for the African Esports champions.
Exactly. Look how close they are. They're just waiting for any Pakistani to go down. They're just waiting for any Kyrgyzstan player to lose his HP advantage that they have right now. But in the meanwhile, well, things are looking quite different. Zarek has been revived, and Egypt, the Egyptians are turning around. How is this happening? And suddenly they find one of the Pakistani players now, Shamir, who's had an incredible journey in this tournament as well. He's been one of the key fraggers for them. And there's more shots now coming on through. Randy takes down T24, and he has also hit the ground as a result. No chance for him to get picked back up. Shamir now being picked by Egypt too. That's the 4th point in total. Solo lethal eliminations as we head into the top 8.
Oh my god, what a nade. What a nade to melt the HP of Nord. He actually falls to Brazil from afar, but the nades from again are doing this. He's found the opening onto Pakistan. He's now finding the damage onto Kyrgyzstan as well. But effect taken out means the door's wide open here. He's running in with the DBS. He wants to take them all. He's jumping over them in the smokes. The man knows no tomorrow, but he's out of bullets now, instantly traded. This is not what Egypt wanted. They wanted to third party this, but they've put themselves in the middle of it, Felix.
Absolutely. Saxi, he tries his best, but Pakistan comes out swinging. And Goku is able to secure the last 2. That's definitely an upset in my books as well. Look at the sliver of HP he has left before he hits the first 8. Before he's able to regroup and reconsider his options. But wow, what a turnaround. Out of all these teams, I wouldn't have expected Pakistan to come out on top.
No.
Because that edge is heavily fought.
They were in the worst position too.
Now it isn't anymore.
They were in the middle of it all.
Yeah.
They were taking knocks from range. Multiple teams coming in, right? Remember,
even
Indonesia, Brazil,
exactly.
Everybody was teaming up on them. But they slip on through the cracks, and Egypt goes a little too hard on Kyrgyzstan, maybe. You can't fault them for wanting to close out that fight. They are on a clock, but they end up in the middle between everything, and they end up taking out. It's a hard balance, right? Confidence and patience. And it's a little bit too far on the side of confidence. We talked about Brazil in phase 1 here. We said they were in one of the best spots once that phase 2 came in. And they still are. Picking up a few kills, few elims on each side of the zone with the DMRs. But keeping it slow, keeping it calm, collected, not risking anything just yet.
not risking more than they need to. Brazil, now that things have calmed down quite a bit, now that all these edge fights have concluded, finds themselves in one of the best spots in the circle, actually the best spot in the circle by far, let's be honest about this. This is a power position, in Kovo's words. There is no doubt about this. No one is really able to attack a position like this late in the game. It's open all around it. If you attack that ridgeline, you're gonna get seen not only by Brazil, but by the teams surrounding it. Everyone's gonna have sidelines on you. And at the same time, you're in deep circle center. You have absolutely no reason to move. You've got hard cover. If you get knocked down, doesn't matter. You get back up. So Brazil looking to overtake Myanmar now with this game. This is perfect for them once more. Mongolia on the other side is weakened. Even Morocco is weakened. The only team really having a potential here to do something about this, man advantage-wise, in an equal fight, would be Indonesia.
Yeah. But they have so much to deal with as well. They have so much to deal with. Coming out of the lower ground here, Jordan is going to pose some massive, massive issues for them. And if they do swing north, they're in one of the most low ground positions. They're giving up all of the control they have. So hard situation for them. But the one team that can really challenge Brazil in this. Jordan, yes, they can play below. But they have to wait. They have to hope Pakistan doesn't get too many shots on them. They're outnumbered as well. Everybody's just looking at the king of the hill, and that is just Brazil all the way right now.
There's another team being taken out. We're down to the top 5, ladies and gentlemen. It's the second to last round here at the Iesf World Esports Championship. And even though that top-heavy leaderboard, as of right now, is heavily in favor of Turkey, it's not over just yet. Who's going to pick up the rest of the prize pool, the $130,000 that are for grabs? And it looks like Brazil has something to say about that. Takes down Carry Boy, long distance, Rafa hits the shots that he needs to. 7 even with a very unusual weapon at that point. With a Mini 14, tries to take down Marshall. He barely escapes behind the ridgeline. He tries to take on Indonesia all by his lonesome. But that doesn't work. Obviously it doesn't. These guys are unbeatable today. And they will find the third elimination only. I gotta say only.
Yeah.
So far.
Quiet game for them. Picking up a few solos here or there, but well read as well. Realizing the Moroccan player has to walk their way. They secure the elimination point, and they regroup into the northern edge. Now, they've come into a survivable position, and they will wait. And they will wait and hope that the compound gets contested. Hope that Jordan has to make a push. Hope that the king of the hill is busy enough for them to make a move. And that's the only thing that can go wrong for the Brazilian squad, is that they get approached by 2 teams at the same time, and everybody around them has to work for that as well. They have to try and almost coordinate the attack. Because if you're going in alone, if you're letting them pick you apart, your chances aren't looking good, and the only thing you can really hope for is them running out of ammo.
Exactly.
Oh my god, the nades.
Wow, oh my.
Oh! What is this, Brazil? 1, 2, 3, 4 nades. Nothing hits the target. That's so surprising to me. That looked so coordinated. That looked perfect. That's textbook play. That's how you want to do it. You immediately take 1 or 2 knocks. You push out of the compound. You clean them up. But surprisingly enough, nothing hit. That is crazy to me. I look back at this in the VOD and think, how did that happen?
Yeah.
Where did the nades go?
Throwing nades downhill is so much harder than straight or uphill, because they will fly so far away from the target if they're just not perfectly cooked. And you could see it there. Like the timing, the decision-making, perfect. They were ready for this. They probably talked about this beforehand and realized whenever they pull up, whenever they get close, we have to blow them up. But the nades are hard to land, and that will cost them quite a bit, because that was a lot of their utility expanded. And now they're stuck in whatever they didn't want to be. Jordan's made the move. Indonesia's made the move. They're being choked out of this.
Exactly, but look, exactly what you said, right? Brazil has used 4 nades. We don't know the exact amount of nades and smokes they have left, but Indonesia is playing this one so smart. They could easily nade back. 3 nades on Excel. I think that's another 4 nades on Rendy. Maybe a couple of more nades on Fazriel. No one is doing it. They know the time to fight is not just yet. They're waiting the next circle out. They're waiting for Jordan having to make a move. They're waiting for Pakistan to get out of this round as well, to get cleaned out as soon as the next phase comes on through. And if that happens, then you use the nades.
The only real problem for Indonesia here is the best move for Jordan is never into the compound. The best move is wrap around the ridge to the north, almost every single time. And if then they don't dispose of them very cleanly and very quickly, they might be in trouble themselves, because that would lead them into a fight. And if anyone gets knocked, it's not going to be good. Now, phase 9 is coming on in. The circle's closing its ways. Pakistan, the first one to be out of it. Probably the first player to go down here as well. But any knock he could get would be massive impact on the outcome of this game. There's Life picking him up. 3v4, v4. Who's going to take it?
That's the big question. Pakistan gets cleared out. And now the big three in this round, Jordan, Indonesia, and Brazil are fighting for each other. Now the nades are coming on through. Indonesia finally realizes the timing has come, but the zone is definitely in their advantage as well. Not only the utility, and as you said, that move from Jordan is not to the compound. It's actually wrapping that north side around.
Yeah, and that is a big, big problem for Indonesia, and it's beautiful for Brazil. Problem with Brazil is they're so exposed on this plateau, right? They can't see down as much as others can see up, and the util is now coming on in. They're pushed into smokes. They're taking some casualties here. It's an absolute bloodbath in the smoke. They're trading each other out. Shotguns come in, but look at Jordan. They're just chilling. They're loving this.
It's an absolute disaster all around. Everyone is losing players just now. It's a three-way fight. Brazil is pushing. They're on top of the red line. Nades are coming out. Indonesia out of all of these teams eliminated in third place. And they're jumping across the rocks. And out of all these three teams, it is Jordan coming out on top. And we've been saying it from the start. These guys have the potential to do something massive. They just haven't used the opportunities that they've been given. Fighting in phase 1, half of these games just doesn't win you rounds. This time around, apparently it does.
You love to see it. The potential is there. Remember, when I was faulting them a little bit, Ragnarok just overstepping in that phase 1, getting caught out instantly. Doesn't matter. The rest of the squad, they pull it together. They know when to cut their losses. A slow game from the low ground, the correct moves in the end game. They just read that last circle perfectly. They know they don't have to go into the compound. They don't know they don't have to overstep into Indonesia either. They bide their time and they close things out. Bigger news for me, though, is a really good game from Brazil that locks them in right now in third place, I'm almost certain, and everybody else is playing catch-up.
I think so as well. I think they easily overtake Myanmar with this one. They definitely lock in, the third place. I'm not sure how big that gap is going to be. We'll leave that to the analysts at the desk, but it's got to be probably double digits as well. It's probably going to be double digits.
Regardless, it's going to be a lot of teams still playing for this. There's a lot of teams still playing for that third place, but Saudi Arabia are really quiet in this one. Caught out early, caught out again in the breach on the compound towards Egypt. I think they actually got away with 0 points this game.
Yeah.
So that's big, big news. And then a lot of teams that were further down the leaderboard didn't make any big moves either. So the only one that really makes a move here is Jordan. Once again, we talked about them, right? It's how crazy they've been playing these early games, and how they're still up there, and I believe it was 9th place or 7th place before this game, somewhere around that mark.
Yep.
That is actually mental. And they've shown us once again why that's the case, because they've got everything it takes. They really just got to iron out that early game.
Yeah, I mean, we've been saying it a million times, and I'm so glad that these guys are not leaving this tournament without getting a chicken dinner, because that would have been heartbreaking, right? Qualifying here, not necessarily qualifying, actually that's the first one, right? They didn't qualify. They backfilled the team, but Rain unfortunately couldn't make it, so Jordan replaced them, which is a strong contender. Don't get me wrong, which is a super strong contender, so I'm not surprised they're performing here. But then coming into this and just sitting around for half of these games, because you fight early, you lose players, things don't go your way. You continuously hot job. That El Pozo fight has happened every single round almost, and even though you get ahead of Bulgaria on half of these times, it still means quarter of the games are just gone, and maybe another quarter of the games you start with maybe 3 players. So your chances of picking up rounds just slim down to exactly the scenarios we see. And if you don't win these, then it's done. 18 games go past like this.
Is there, and we may
for you guys before we head into the last game. It is Jordan up on the stage.
And now I'm here, ladies and gentlemen, with Miracle from Team Jordan. أول شيء نقول مبروك وألف مبروك for this chicken winner. فشنو إحساسك? And what is your feeling right now?
والله أخيرا يعني بعد ما حاولنا كثير وما قدرنا، بس الحمد لله اجت على الجيم قبل الأخير، وإن شاء الله الجيم الأخير كمان.
Inshallah, alhamdulillah. So the answer was pretty much
Final match to decide who
additional team.
specifically on the game number 4 today in the last Erangel, because 3 members, a winner chicken, just a record-breaking game. Turkey getting 0.
I would definitely here go for I'd add Myanmar.
Okay,
Okay,
so
interesting.
Myanmar for DK. Nep, what do you have?
You know what? I'm gonna Pakistan.
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 Okay, so we have.
So that Ukraine's out of position, maybe out of vehicles, that's enough, right?
Yeah.
Just wrap your head around the fact that you need to kill 24 people in a lobby that has 60 other people, right? That is mental. The amount of elims you have to get is half of the lobby, essentially.
Yeah.
we love talking about it. We want to see it, right? We always want the underdog story. We always want it to be exciting. But at that point, that is French for delusional.
It is French. We still haven't looked at the dictionary and what that word.
Déliré. I looked at it.
What is it?
I don't know how to pronounce it. Déliré, I think.
Déliré.
Yeah, I don't know. Something like that.
Sounded fair enough.
Je ne sais pas.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the very last game of the Iesf World Esports Championship. So give it up one more time for all these teams that are competing, the 16 countries that we have live here from Riyadh, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to be exact, competing for the lion's share of $130,000. It is coming down to the line. I'd love to say it's coming down to the wire, but it unfortunately really isn't. It's going to need one heck of a game from Ukraine. We've talked all about it. And it's going to need Ukraine taking down Turkey really early. And this is interesting now. We said Turkey, all they need to do is not fight Ukraine early. This is the only thing that could potentially secure them the win is if they get wiped by by Ukraine 4-0 at the start. This is the only way this happens. So if we see that fight again, once more, which could potentially happen, then I don't necessarily understand Turkey. But even then, even if they take this fight, it becomes really unlikely.
The thing is as well, they are in the driver's seat right now. They've played a massive tournament. They're not going to go hide. They're not going to hide away from this fight that they've been winning and that they've won throughout the entirety of this tournament now. They're not in the position to be hiding away from things. Ukraine stretching on towards that southern side. They have Romania in Impala and they have an extremely northwestern circle. One that will require them to go extremely far. But I think that's a good thing. I think they don't want to be sitting in a center compound. They need these elims. They need to pick up points before the game even starts. And this could be a chance to get them. Romania has not been looking bad in these last few fights. But Ukraine, on paper, should be still able to take the fight to them.
Yeah, but then again, it's Impala. I'm not sure I'd want to fight Impala first phase. That's kind of dangerous, isn't it?
Can you be picky at this point?
Yeah, I think so. I think you should. You should still be picky. Out of all the fights I want to take for phase 1, I'd not pick an Impala fight, but we'll have to wait and see if they really do. It really looked like they were going to set up for it. They set themselves up towards the cross-section compound, towards that little 2-story warehouse, southwest compound, and then towards gas station as well. It's just south of Impala. I think that's where the Ukrainian players are right now. So if they do want to engage Romania, that's for sure, they will at least notice it. It's not going to be a surprise to them anymore. Look, hot drop has not happened, which also means Romania will be having at least some amount of equipment to take this fight head on. How it's going to turn out, we'll have to wait and see once more, but I'm really surprised that apart from Ukraine, no one's really changed anything. Even Ukraine hasn't changed much, but apart from them, no one's really going for any early aggression. We now see the very first knock coming out, but even that aggression is less than I expected out of all these teams in phase 1. They're
just trying to play a good last game. They're just trying to get it one more round. Bulgaria, on the other hand, they've gone for the hot drop. That's the change-up you've wanted to see. That's definitely different. Egypt has been doing this for a long while. Supra is out of bullets, but he makes the jump to the bottom, survives a few seconds longer, but the trade's there again. Comes around the corner. Arthur, I don't think he knows exactly where Bandita is hiding on out, but again is there. Hard to not make puns with his name, but he just keeps getting these multiple knocks, multiple eliminations in every team fight that they are in. And look at that, cleaning it up. Bulgaria decide they want to add some spice to their last round, and Egypt shows them the door. This is their hot spot. This is their loot spot. They're not letting you get away with anything, and they keep it clean as well, keeping all four up, even though a lot of them are on very low HP.
Zaxi had to make sure they realized that this is Zaxi they just essentially have fallen to. Make sure to get a couple of extra bullets into the crate that is now left behind by the players.
That is cursed.
That is
Pakistan. Losing a member right there and then. Something with these predictions coming from the analyst desk is just wrong.
Yeah, I'm not a believer usually, but I mean, it's literally happened to me like twice already in
Never
this
seen
tournament.
anyone as cursed.
Yeah. These guys are the real reasons. They gotta go around the tables, around the venue in the upcoming minutes that are to come after the game, and just make sure to apologize to everyone they've cursed.
Yeah.
Because there's plenty of them. There's
Personal
plenty of
apology.
plenty of apologies that have to go around. France, that's gotta be the team they have to start with. Still 4 men strong in this one, but yet to have a big round, yet to crack that top 3. I don't think we've seen a top 3 from these guys.
I'm not sure. We've seen them snake into late games every now and then. We've seen them win some fights really convincingly and just to get 1v3'd by a guy with 20 HP. They have broken some dreams here, but they've always well-spirited. As I said, good luck to them before Game 4, I think it was. They would look like they were in a really good mood, despite of what happened. That's a drive-by. That's a nice shot coming out of Trigger. And that's an early fight that's not really going the way of Jordan just yet. But if he does find it, no, he doesn't. Trigger gets the better of him. Jordan down to 1. And Chile finally gets something going. They've been a team that's been bullied early game quite a lot, but this time, they come out on top.
They are. It's a lead with a double knock now as well. Double flush. Something that we are used to from him, but not in that consistency, to be honest. Grabbing himself 2 eliminations and grabbing his team 2 eliminations at that as well. And Chile will start with 3 points in the bank. Potentially money in the bank. That's what Jordan wants as well with that last game. They have gotten themselves into reach of prize pool money. One more good game is needed though to really solidify their spot up there.
Yeah. They've already been surpassed this game, by the way.
Yeah.
Egypt with 4, Jordan with 1 will tie them up, and it's very likely that Egypt outscores them for the rest of the match. We'll have to wait and see, but that is the direct contenders. This is a direct contender for 3rd place here. This is Saudi Arabia, the hometown team, with an early frag here onto Morocco, and they are looking to continue the aggression. Kerry Boy all by his lonesome. Got to be careful what he steps into. You don't want to bite off more than you can chew. And the rest of the squad, yes, they are in the vicinity, but they're not in close range positions to be helping this. He does fall away far enough to be safe for the moment, but not the start of the game that Morocco would have wanted.
Really not. It's the same story with them as for Jordan. Too many early engagements that haven't gone your way. If you do have that many early engagements, in sometimes even disfavorable, disadvantageous positions. I wouldn't even say disfavorable, because these fights, there's arguments to be made that some of these fights should be taken, but even at a disadvantage, to, you know, kind of stand your ground. But very often it's disadvantageous, and it's been that way for pretty much since the start of the tournament, and they just can't seem to turn it around that way. They just can't seem to turn it around the other way, and this last game seems to be no different. Carry Boy has to hold out here in this little building now. His position is somewhat known, but I don't think he's going to be changed. Question only is, like,
what does he do?
Yeah, what does he? What do you? What I mean,
He
there's
gave
plenty
up
of
his vehicle
castballs
as
up
well.
there, but Now that I think of it, Saudi's probably taken all of them.
Yeah, he gave up his vehicle as well, so not in a great position. Lost a teammate, stuck in the blue in phase 1. And that's the big difference between Morocco and Jordan as well. Yeah, early engagements, but Morocco has been losing the brunt of it. Jordan's been consistently winning them, consistently getting elims, even though they lose time and they lose members. Now, phase comes on in. It's a pleasant one for Morocco if they do manage to group back up and they do manage to make plays into this zone. But it's not looking likely.
This is interesting now. Look at Turkey repositioning immediately. Turkey has now found themselves a really solid and really easy entry to the southern side of things. And now that I speak of them, they're on the screen. I love it. Thank you so much, production. They'll have prio on some of the best spots in the circle. And these type of spots are really hard to contest. And most of the times, gives you a couple of points for free as well. Now, for Ukraine to catch up, with so many players already being taken out, and this position, it becomes all the more unlikely, unfortunately.
Yeah, they're doing everything they can to not make this possible, to not make this a thing that they have to sweat at all. Saving the vehicles, making sure they keep these into the late game. Playing 4 guys, 1 compound as well, not all too shabby when you're only looking for a few points. You don't need to win this game, right? You don't need to get away with the chicken dinner. You just want to survive and get a few of these points your way. Pakistan struggling to make headway towards the zone. Shots coming in from Myanmar, another one of those contenders for 3rd. So it's the second race we got going on. As we see Brazil, we saw them extremely far in the blue. Same for Ukraine, by the way, playing extremely slow late games here. Hoping that the craziness of the last game will provide some openings. Hoping that enough people fight themselves early to give space on the map. Right now, that's been true to some extent. But with that circle shift, and with Turkey's position, it's hard to make use of any of that.
Is he going to be able to hit the last shot? It looks easier than it is, to be honest. Or maybe for some it looks harder than it is. But for me, it definitely looks easier than it is. I would never hit anything at that distance. Luis almost does. One of the top players at the Iesf World Esports Championship so far in the finals especially. He's been having one hell of a qualification. He's put that to the test here in the finals too. And that test has definitely been confirmed. It's definitely succeeded in that proving. And yeah, unfortunately, Jordan, not the round they've hoped for. Switching over to the northern hand side. It's Egypt taking them down. Jordan, just one single player left alive. Actually, that should have been the last one. No, it's probably not updated yet. But Jordan is out of the running as well. Just 1 point. They'll be packing things up. They'll be logging out of the devices. And sometime soon, head home. Unfortunately, not the round they needed to finish off of to potentially have a shot at the prize pool. I don't think it's going to be enough for the money.
They'll be getting some, but they will almost surely getting passed by Egypt here. 1 more point for Egypt needed to break the tie, as France is the one getting approached by Kyrgyzstan. Far northern side of the circle, excuse me. 1 Kyrgyzstan player extremely far away from this, but Zerek finds the nade. It's a big one onto a player with nade in his name. Ironic, I know, but it's now a 2v3 in the compound once the res comes through. 2v2 with 1 player so far away. Not is so far gone for this. But Kyrgyzstan, they do not mind. They do not care. They take it anyways.
And that's another flush coming on through. And in fact knows exactly where the last 2 players are. He's dodging and weaving. He's playing around with the French players. And knows exactly where to stand and where not to be able to dodge these nades. He's not really giving them any chance to anticipate his movements. And there goes another flash first and foremost. Before they engage the last two players, they needed to make sure to get these 100%, and they did. They take control of the building. They force France into 2 positions that they highly likely know of, meaning they can now use that utility even better. That's Slonik. That's not Egypt, be reminded. That's just a little bit of a display bug right there. But that was indeed Ukraine, and Tulika has found another one. Again, goes down as well. Tulika with a massive position here, actually. Look at this. He's having a massive chance now to potentially take down some of the Egypt players. There goes Arthur. He turns around, potentially gets another flush. This is perfect for Ukraine. This is absolutely perfect. This is what they need. This is the start they needed as well. But Some of the players are still inside the blue zone, and it doesn't get easier from here on out.
No, they need to close this, and they need to close it fast. They don't have a lot of time to deal with this. Remember, they're on a clock. They want to get potentially the biggest game of the tournament. If they want to have a shot at this, as unrealistic as it might sound, they can't be taking their time in these fights. They really got to steamroll all of them. Similar to what we just saw Kyrgyzstan pull off versus France, but even they have slowed things down. They don't want to run into a shotgun. They are happy with the space that they've been able to grab, and they slow things down after the 2 initial knocks, just to make sure that they have all their cards sorted and a good idea of how they want to approach this. 40 seconds until phase 4 is revealed. And I might be wrong, but I don't think that fight on the southern side, I don't think that fight has really let Ukraine into a winning position just yet.
Exactly what this is. The search for the winning position, to be honest. That's ultimately what it comes down to with a circle like this. So many different power positions that I could put on the list of exactly what we're talking about. Turkey has one of them. I think Mongolia even more so. Romania, probably the top 1 spot actually. This very rarely shifts up north. And as I'm saying that, it shifts down south. Exactly what I was expecting to as well. These endings tend to kind of end around the street from Romania. And it's a compound that very often gets breached late game as well because of its strength. Because of the way the ridge lines around it work as well. Because of the way the sack lines work. It's just a really, really strong position. But this time around, actually surprisingly few teams up on the southern side that could potentially do this. And I'm reading the elimination feed, it's Tolika with another one.
He gets the opening. And this is a team that's already lost members. That is Pakistan. They lost one super early. Shamir basically barely gets this first hit off. A bit of damage coming on through, but look at the trades. And this is what they need, Falix. This is how they have to play these. Run them over. Just steamroll these compounds. You see Sloik instantly wants to go for the next one. A bit of util comes in to help push the player away, and it's beautiful stuff from the Ukrainian squad. The confidence is there. The speed is there. They just have to not trip over anything right now. They have to stay as clean as that fight was for the rest of the game.
That's perfect. That's absolutely perfect for them. Do not get confused by the live leaderboard on the left-hand side. That is not up to speed, and I think that makes it actually, surprisingly, all the more interesting. I kind of love it at the moment. That's the one time I kind of prefer Pubg, to be honest. Because you can never be sure how many points Ukraine really has. You can never be sure about Turkey. And who's really closing down on who. Chile, in the meanwhile, takes down one of the French players. And now this phase is going to be all about staying alive somehow, finding a position if you haven't already. Indonesia even has to rotate out of the circuit because they just cannot seem to find any safe haven towards the northeastern side. There is a compound that's still completely and entirely open. That's across the street, if I see that correctly. That's crazy. I'm surprised Indonesia didn't take this, but I think they got engaged towards the northern side and kind of had to reposition in order to help the remaining teammates.
I think they're fighting off Saudi Arabia in the north. That's what they're doing. They're choosing to fight for their edge, and so far it's looking like that's working out for them. The elims are trickling on in. 5 for Ukraine at this moment. It's a good start, but it's a long way from what they need. We see a few of the elims trickling on in the kill feed as well, towards the Indonesian side on the northeast, as we see Ukraine going for a reposition, making moves, figuring out where to go in this stage 4. The problem is they want to play this for the win. They want to play this as well as they can, but they're not on the pace that they need right now.
Ukraine, 5 eliminations. Has been a pretty strong game. And look how much space they have. But they are now engaging another team, and that's Myanmar. This has got to be the ultimate test in this round. If they can do this, maybe it's somewhat possible. It's Slonik now who has to hit it. He hits the first couple of shots, but he needs to hit the remaining ones, and he does. Slonik takes the first one. This is an important frag for Ukraine. And they solidify themselves up towards the northern side. But it's Christian now who's got a pretty strong angle. Takes down Slonik. He's barely behind the cover. They cannot afford to lose him. Not just yet, but Romania, you can see, they're in a fight as well.
Yeah, they're in a different fight across the map as well, so they are busy, at least for the time being. But that doesn't mean that Ukraine is not on the clock. Now Tulika is being taken out, and it's not looking all that hot for Ukraine here. They're taking a little bit too much fire on this. The one good thing here is that the team in front of them has also taken a knock, but you can see they need to run this down. They need to get on Oppo side of the ridge here, and they need to close this fight out so fast here, Felix.
Yeah, but the good thing is, look at how much Old Boy has already, closed down the distance, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Look at how much space he's already gained. Despite there being 2 knocks, Old Boy continues to push. Myanmar continues to be scared, knowing that, yes, we have the zone, but honestly, it doesn't really give you much, because as soon as Ukraine takes this ridgeline and they're back up to 4, you're going to be at a disadvantage whatsoever. And this is a pretty easy compound to close the distance to once you're on top of them, and they are now, so I'm excited to see what Ukraine can do with this. But I think the main problem is Turkey is still alive, and we're closing down on placement points. They need to win everything they can now, and they need to start doing so this very moment. Ladies and gentlemen, we're at a breaking point right now at the Iesf World Esports Championship. It's one of the most important fights we've seen throughout the last 3 days, and it's Ukraine fighting Myanmar to potentially have a chance at the championship.
They're getting in there, the damage is coming in, the nades are good. Tulika wants to get on the roof, doesn't quite make it. Shotgun around the corner. He's got a player up down to just 1 HP right next to him, but he's running this down. He's got exactly the pace that they need. Can he find the opening? Comes around the corner, he's walked past a few of them. Halfling goes down in the distance. Tulika, you need to win this 1v1. This is make or break at this point. Lewis with the Tommy gun as well. They're dancing around him. He's trying to do so much. He finally finds it isolated to his own devices now in the compound. But he's got the support from the top. Can he get the first hit off? It's not looking likely. Godspeed wants to close this. This is make or break here, Felix. And is Tulika going down as well?
Yeah, he is. That's going to be really tough to get him back up.
No.
A second frag as well. The micro Uzi comes into play.
It's
Slowly
over.
goes down. And that's it. Done and dusted. We have our champions, ladies and gentlemen. And it is going to be Turkey. There is no chance for anyone to catch up, unfortunately. As Ukraine loses the deciding battle they have left in this round. They lost it moments ago, and it all looked so perfectly, so brilliantly. But how unfortunate is that as well, that you meet one of the few teams that has shown us immense firepower throughout the finals as well.
The final hurdle for them will be Myanmar. A team that's very happy to win that fight as well. They need every single point they can get, and they take out the contenders. Turkey's going to be still playing the rest of this game out, still in a position to try and take a fight. Sol is now knocked and flushed. Solkai on an island, out in the open. He's got to bait, got to wait, got to see what he can do a little bit later on. A few shots will come into Chile here. Trigger, he's got a long ways to go. That's a lot of damage done. Finds the knock in the end. Solkai from a distance. And they will be picking up point after point here, maximizing once again and showing everybody in the lobby they are not to be beaten. They are not to be messed with. Just dominate performance all across this tournament here, Felix.
No chance for anyone else. They're running away with it in these last 2 matches. And deservingly so, for be honest, that's completely deserving. They have been just that tiny bit more consistent. If you replay these 18 rounds up until this point, maybe we'll have a different champion. Maybe Ukraine. 1 or 2 more chances on the very first day. Let's be honest, they have not used that chance on the very first day. They were more consistent teams. They were by far on the top 1 spot, but there could have been so much more, and that's what's going to make them fume, unfortunately. Just 1 more dinner on the very first day in this entire tournament.
Yeah.
Would have been very, very different, and maybe Turkey would have been the team that tries to catch up. But it's far from over, at least in this round. Still so many placement points to be gathered by all these remaining teams. We're down to the top 7. Myanmar still alive, obviously, on that southern part, has to make their way down the hillside. Not an easy pathing, not an easy crossing. Good thing for them is everyone else has really deep center and could potentially have sidelines on them. Kind of has to worry about plenty of other teams around them.
Look at the minimap as well. The basically center compound is free. It's been evacuated. There is an opening there. Very unrealistic to scout that out, but if you do manage to get that information for yourself, could be making a big move here past the Romanian squad. And keep in mind as well, Myanmar and Brazil are still heavily fighting for the 3rd place here. Brazil had the upper hand. They were a few points ahead before this game, but Myanmar has already closed that gap significantly, excuse me.
I mean, they've closed it consistently as well, to be honest.
Fair.
They've been consistently performing. They've consistently gathered the points they need to solidify themselves all the way up there. But it's now going to be Mongolia They've been waiting for a dinner on their own as well. Kyrgyzstan is not going to get the last one either. Out in 7th place with 5 eliminations. We'll have to wait and see what the rest of the teams do here to really have a good grasp on where they end up on. Definitely going to be exciting too. Randy, in the meanwhile, continues his streak that he has today. It's complete domination. Even the scoreboard tells you it is that way. And they're still up as 4. The only team that has all players left standing. Now Mongolia in a little bit of a fight. Catch straightens things out. The first one did go the way of Mongolia, so he has to bring things back and gets the first flush too. Turkey, maybe there's 2 more points in this for them.
Not looking to stop anytime soon. Indonesia pulls up another big performance here in our last match of the day. Signs of brilliance, especially today, from them. Sparks here or there. And they don't stop anytime soon. Ketch now caught out. Solkai trying to reposition, goes away from, might want to go away from this fight. He's down to very little HP there on the edge of the circle. He does realize this is not a team he will put a stop to. But he keeps himself in it. Keeps himself in the competition. 10 elims for the Indonesian squad. And the game's not nearly over here, Felix.
Over. It's far from over, actually. Absolutely correct in that instance. Indonesia now closing in on that last player inside that compound. Imagine they get a 3rd dinner today. What would that mean for them? It'd be absolutely insane. That would mean the world to them. I just know it for a fact. That would mean the world to so many fans at home watching, so many PUBG Mobile enthusiasts supporting that big, one of the biggest, arguably the biggest PUBG Mobile nation. Some of these stars have millions of followers on Instagram. It's unbelievable how big that game is. I've been in sold-out stadiums in Indonesia watching PUBG Mobile, and these guys are just happy for this game. They're passionate about this game beyond anything else I've seen.
Listen, Indonesia has closed the gap. Indonesia might be a team fighting for 3rd place here as well if they win this game. They were 9 points behind what I think is 5th place. 15 points behind the 3rd place. They've already got 11 elims here. If they somehow, right, somehow clean up their edge here, they're in the running for this as well with, honestly, the craziest comeback, if they pull that off, I have ever seen. Solkai is probably about to get caught out by Brazil here. Good off angle from 7. Oh, he fluffs the shots though. He makes this a little bit more possible for Solkai than it maybe should have been. Comes over the top and he wins it out, of course.
Of course he does.
Of course. And he does end up falling to his own demise. But look at the eliminations coming in. Another one picked up for Indonesia. They're not stopping anytime soon. They might take control of this completely. And I think whoever wins this last game, there's 3 teams here, and whoever wins this, whoever runs away with this, I believe will be in 3rd place here. Get themselves the bronze medal at the World Esports Championship. What a way to end it.
Unthinkable scenes for an Indonesian fan. Absolutely unthinkable scenes. Who would have thought? Who would have been able to predict that? I absolutely wouldn't have and haven't predicted that comeback. This is, oh no, how did that just happen? Randy, that significantly slims down the chances of them winning it because they needed to make it down the hill. And they kind of needed to engage Brazil as well. Brazil has the opportunity to play down the hill. They do not. If they run down the hill, they're running into Myanmar.
Yeah,
Brazil, they have a free compound just below them to potentially reposition.
Yeah, they're absolutely pinched here. This is a hard game for them, and losing the man advantage is big as well. Gonna put them against a wall here. They don't have a whole lot of space left to play. I suspect they're gonna make a play into Myanmar here very, very soon, and that should give a lot of different chances to Brazil to close it out. Now they're in the cars. Once again, they have a little bit of space, but look at that. That's basically nothing. That is 1 nade away from being wiped out. They would love to make a play right now. They should be setting up for it. They might be getting the smokes out. You see the smoke line. They're getting ready to breach Myanmar on the compound, but the damage has already come on in. This is not an easy approach for them. They have to wait for the first stage now, and there's more util coming. Myanmar knows exactly what's happening. Lewis, James, the man's been absolutely massive for them. He knows what's coming his way, and he's trying to get himself ready for it. The breach is in full effect. I say that. They hit a rock. Yeah, they slow things down. This is a very delayed push.
I think it still works. And I don't think these nades will hit anything just yet. Yeah, Fazriel barely stays alive, but he stays alive. Now, okay, never mind me. Lewis finds him. And I think there's another nade to finish the job. Unfortunately, Indonesia might just lose a player here, but it's far from over, ladies and gentlemen. We are approaching the very last game. Top 3 scenario. Adrian now takes down Fazriel. That's the flush done and out. And Excel, even though he tries to support them from the distance, he can't really do much about it. It's kind of a 1v2 in the compound. He's all alone by himself. And there's nothing he can do, and he's now being pressured. He's got the DBS, though. If he can find this, maybe he can find more. Peeks around the corner. He takes down Lewis. This is an important frag. Now it becomes very, very doable inside that compound, and Indonesia stays in the game, at least momentarily.
Confirm as well. XL picks that up for his squad. And what a last stand in the last game. Is it enough? I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see. Especially with Brazil looking poised to take this still. They have all the time in the world to set on up. The close range shotgun versus the Uzi. Godspeed finds the first. The second one is far, far off. They're tearing each other to pieces here. These two teams, they're fighting for dear life. They're fighting for the place on the podium. But look at Brazil now slowly coming on in. They know exactly what they have to do. And they know that they got this game in their hands. They want to close out the last match of the World Esports Championship. And they have all the cards in their hands here, Felix.
Just a couple of more shots needed, a couple of more seconds until everyone needs to move. And Brazil, they're preparing themselves to take home the last dinner of the World Esports Championship. Axel peeks across the ridgeline, and now it's all down to Godspeed. Can he do something absolutely miraculous? I don't think so just yet. There's too many smokes, too many players, too much utility still standing for Brazil. And they are closing down the distance just now. He's got the micro Uzi and the M4. He needs to do something long range, but the good thing is they're all being pressured out into the open. He's going to hit the first aid, but what more can he do before they have closed the distance? Indeed, he peeks around it. Doesn't even matter. 7 takes him down. And there it is, another dinner for Brazil. One of the teams, one of the very few teams that have found themselves 3, but actually even 4 dinners. 4 dinners in the grand final.
They start the tournament with a back-to-back. They end the tournament with a back-to-back, and that's going to lock them in on the podium here. Back-to-back, I say. They fall second in that game on Mrinal before, but massive, massive performance from these guys. Come back and lock in a podium finish. They'll be happy about how this tournament ended. They won't be happy about the middle of it. They fell short a bit on day 2 to keep them out of the conversation, unfortunately, but a good stand here towards the end. But we will have to redirect our attention here very shortly here to who wins this tournament. And I can already see the flags coming out. I can already see the celebration starting. This is the team we're looking at. This are your World Esports Champions, Felix.
Unbelievable scenes. We've been cheering for these guys, and that's claps all around the venue, deservingly so. Turkey has done it. They've been waiting for this specific moment for a couple of years now. It's not the first time these guys have made it to the final, not the first time by far.
No.
They've been on the international stage for some time, and this time around, it's been enough for first place.
Second place is what the Turkish roster got last year. Second place is what the qualifying roster got in the Europe qualifier. And now they are taking the trophy. They're lining up to lift the Pubg Mobile World Esports Championship trophy of 2024, and they've deserved it all the way. They deserved it. The way they've approached these games, nobody should lift the trophy but them, and them alone.
Soykai, so is the rest of them. It's been a tournament to remember. It's been a tournament for every Turkish esports fan at home, watching this, celebrating, cheering for them in the midst of it, and it didn't look possible. It looked like it was going to be Ukraine running away with things after the first day, for the second day, and then the start of the third day as well. Ukraine opening things up with a massive, massive chicken dinner, but they've come back. They've overtaken these obstacles that were thrown their way.